Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be how to get through a flare. I have 10 tips for you on how to get through a flare. If you've been here for a while, you know I have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS, and that I've been that a few months ago I was in a flare for pretty much the entire month. I did a video on a day in the life with flare day, give or take. It was a good flare day, because the days that I'm having bad flare days, I don't get out of bed except for to go to the bathroom. That's pretty much it. But I'm going to share with you these 10 tips to help you get through a flare up. And before we get started, if you've not done so already, hit the red subscribe button down below for more videos like this, and give this video a thumbs up if you like videos like this. So I don't do sit down videos very often anymore, but I do occasionally. So yeah. But let's just jump right in. And the cats are in here, so I'm not promising they're not going to be making noise and moving around and all that. So yeah. My first tip is know your must-haves for your flare day. And I will do a whole entire video on this sometime, probably in a few months. I've shared them on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, the handle's on the screen, then make sure you follow me over there for my flare day must-haves, as well as anything else I share on my Instagram, because I'm more active over there on the day-to-day. Number 2 is postpone or reschedule what you can. Like if you're in college and you have assignments due, talk with your professor, see if you can get those dates pushed, and usually you can. When I was in college, I did this a few times, and usually they're pretty good at doing that as long as you communicate with them first. I would say postpone doctor's appointments if you can, but for me, I've honestly found that if you were in a flare, sometimes you're better off going to the doctor then, because they might be able to help you more than you realize. Like, I had never been, like, I just thought I was sick. And I went to the doctor, and he's like, no, you're in a flare. And I'd flared, and I thought I was over it. And then I started getting sick, and I just thought I was getting sick again. And then I go to the doctor, and he goes, no, you're in a flare. And I'm glad I went, because he was actually able to give me medication to actually bring me out of the flare. Number 3 is ask for help. Trust me, I'm not that person who likes to ask for help. I do not ask for help nearly enough, even when I'm in a flare. That's probably why my last flare ended up lasting as long as it did. Because if you don't ask for help, you're more likely to push yourself and end up worse off than you already are. And if I end up too bad, I end up in the hospital. So yeah, you think by now I would have learned. Number 4 is rest. This is the one thing that when I am having a really bad flare day that I'm really good at. When I'm having a really bad flare day, I lay in my bed and I watch my TV or I play on my phone, and I barely get up and I barely move other than to go to the bathroom or to get something to eat or drink. And sometimes I don't even do that, because sometimes I have my mommy bring me stuff. Because if I'm in a really bad flare, I feel like a little kid. And I need my mommy. So yes, rest is extremely important. And I try to do this even when I'm having I hate to say good flare day, but yeah, pretty much when I'm on the upside of coming out of a flare and I'm having a good flare day, like I can actually get up and do stuff, I still try to rest That way I don't end up making myself worse. Number 5 is keep up with your medications. Trust me, this is probably the most important thing, because if I am not keeping up with my medications, my flare is going to end up being worse than it already is, because my medications do so much to actually help me. And then I have my emergency medications that I rely on when I'm not in a flare, but I rely on them even more when I am. Okay, number 6 is don't force yourself to do stuff. Trust me, I'm really bad at this, because I'm one of those people who does not like to ask for help. But don't get up and clean your entire house or attempt to do something that you know you can't if it's going to make you worse. Like, I have flares that I have days in my flares, sometimes just standing up for 10 minutes is going to make my flare so much worse. So I try to remember that I can sit down, that I can take breaks. I don't have to force myself to do all this stuff, even though in my head I think it needs to get done. Because usually it doesn't need to get done that day, and it can wait. Okay, number 7 is push fluids. And I know this is not for everybody, but for me, because I have POTS, I have to remember to push fluids, especially when I'm in a flare. Because when I'm in a flare, I do not want to eat, I do not want to drink, I do not want to do anything at all. But if I do not push my fluids, I'm going to get even more dehydrated than I already am. Like, I'm chronically dehydrated because I have POTS. So even though I'm drinking 100 ounces of water, if not more, a day, on top of my electrolytes, sometimes I have to force myself to drink all the fluids in the freaking world, or I'm going to end up in the hospital and end up on an IV and having them push fluids. Okay, 8. Track your symptoms, track your vitals, track whatever you need to. For me, I track my symptoms and my vitals anyway, but when I'm in a flare, I make sure I double down on this if I can. Sometimes I'll even have my mom track it for me if I'm not feeling well enough to actually do it myself. That way, the next time I go to the doctor, I can say, okay, so I went into a flare and I've been experiencing this and my vitals have been this, and yeah, and it can help them a lot. And sometimes it even helps me notice patterns of when I went into a flare, the symptoms I had, and what my vitals were. This is rowdy. Number 9 is find distractions. Trust me, when I'm in a flare, the last thing I want to do is be focusing on the fact that I feel like crap and that I'm in a flare. So I like my distractions. I like my TV, but some days I just can't watch my TV because really, sometimes I have headaches with my flare, sometimes I don't. But if I have a headache with my flare, I'm not watching TV because I can't handle it. But hell, sometimes a distraction is sleeping. For me, honestly, though, my best distraction is my cat. Because, yeah, he's my little baby. So, yeah, pretty much anything that you find distracting that is going to keep you from thinking about it, just do that. Some people color. I color on occasion. Not really. Usually my main distraction is TV or my cats. Okay, number 10. Remember, you didn't do this to yourself. Trust me, when you're in a flare, sometimes the easiest thing to do is beat yourself up that you were in that flare. And sometimes it's really hard to remember that you didn't do that to yourself. And trust me, I've been to that point where I have forced myself into a flare, and I know it. But at the same time, I try not to beat myself up over it. Because if I beat myself up over it, then I'm in a flare, and then even if I did cause it, because I've been known to do that. This last one I did not cause. I don't know where that one came from. But basically, remember, you didn't do it to yourself. You didn't ask for it. You didn't make yourself sick. Even if you did. Okay, if you have a chronic illness and you've been known to put yourself into flares, let me know down below in the comments that I'm not alone. But sometimes remembering you didn't do this to yourself is honestly the hardest thing to remember. But if I'm kicking my butt that, hey, you're in a flare, and I think I did it to myself, even though I didn't, it's going to take 10 times longer to get over because I'm going to be pushing myself when I don't need to be. So, yeah. Those are my 10 tips for getting through a flare-up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't do so already at the beginning of the video, hit the red subscribe button down below. Leave a comment if you have a chronic illness. What are your favorite ways to get through a flare? And other than that, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.